second for you. Getting closer.
Hello, I'm Samantha.
And I'm Tanner,
And we are co-founders of The Garden.
which is an underground DIY music venue in the heart of KC.
Our mission is to provide an opportunity for musicians and artists to grow and perform.
We host monthly concerts featuring local talent and occasionally some out-of-town guests. We also partner with local businesses to provide more opportunities for artists to perform.
We started The Garden last September with the Field of Dreams vibe by building a 20 by 20 foot stage with the hopes that if we build it, they will come.
Since then, we've had 10 concerts, which have allowed over 70 artists and bands a chance to showcase their talent in Kansas City.
We try to include a wide variety of artists with different themes every month to keep things exciting.
We work hard to make The Garden a place where everyone feels welcome and encouraged to follow their passion, and we do our best to support them in that journey.
We also work hard to make sure you have a good time.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Getting Close Up. I'm your host, Danielle Cox. And as you've seen from the clip, the guests I have with me today are some busy bees. There's a little bit of everything: hosting, event planning, music, and running an up-and-coming venue for artists of all kinds. Today I have with me Tanner and Ciemantha of KC The Garden. Hello.
Hello, welcome.
How's it going?
Hello.
How y'all doing?
We're great.
I'm happy to have you here. Like I said, you're super busy. You had an event even today, like right before this.
That's correct. So every Sunday from 11 to 4, we attend Art Garden, and I sell flowers and art, and Tanner runs the open mic. And so we both do that every Sunday. It's April through October, and it was a little windy today, so we were just holding things down, making sure like we didn't blow away along the river.
Just holding on for dear life.
Holding on tight.
So, I'm glad you didn't get blown away and you made it here.
Same.
For sure, yeah. Art Garden's definitely something that honestly brought me and Samantha together, because she was a vendor there, and I was kind of just, her friend with speakers that just had moved here from across the country. So I got to, start running a couple events for Art Garden, and now I do their open mic every Sunday, and Samantha's still a vendor there, and yeah, it's just like it's definitely part of our Sunday from, like she said, now till October. It's just
That's
if you
where
know where we're at, we'll be there on Sunday, 11 to 4.
You started talking about how you guys met. So,
Well, we
let's go back to
actually,
that.
we met. We were next door neighbors in an apartment, and when he
Okay.
said he moved here in 2019, he moved in next door to me, and I had just gotten divorced and gotten my first apartment all by myself, like living alone, and it was right in the city. And so they moved in November, and I kind of remember because my birthday was in November, and I had a huge party. A month into quarantine, his girlfriend that had moved here with him came next door and knocked, and she made this loaf of bread, and she was like, "Hi," she's like, "Do you eat gluten?" I was like, "Girl, look at me. Of course I eat gluten. What you got?"
It's a very pandemic thing to happen.
I know. And so
Would
she
you
was
like this bread I made?
Yeah, and she was like, "Well, I made extra bread, and I just thought you might like some." And so that's how we met, and that's the first person I'd seen for the first month. It was just me and my dog during the pandemic.
I'm kind of following you a lot from when you were on the West Side. You had started selling flowers and different things that you had made.
I've been in Art Garden. That started right around the time I started my business, which is kind of how this
Is it
has spurred.
third summer?
This is our third summer doing it, but the first summer was right when I had moved into the West Side, and I was looking for other places to try to sell my flowers, and so I got hooked up with them, and it was over in Pendleton Heights at the time, and it was just across in this like empty lot, and it was just a few people with some tents, and it just grew. But after that fall, I decided to host an art fair in the West Side, and so when I did that, I asked Tanner. I knew he played music because living next door to him, we heard him. I heard him playing, and I knew he had sound.
Musicians are loud. They're
Yeah.
not the best. They're not the best apartment neighbors.
I was
but
also
it's
loud,
okay.
so I could not say anything. Like, I was happy that I was not the only one.
evened out.
Yeah. So when I knew he had speakers, so I got in touch with him, and I wanted him to play. So he had come and he had basically ran the music for me, because not only did he play, I was in charge of this whole event. So I was like, if you could just do all the music and get in touch with all the artists and just run that part for me, I'd be so grateful. And he said, sure. Because he had the equipment and it was his computer and everything. So once I saw that happened, and a lot of the artists that showed up were from Art Garden, Bethany, who runs Art Garden, came to my event to help, but also just to be there. And that's when she met Tanner, and they together decided to run open mic. So last summer we got moved to City Market, but he last summer ran open mic at City Market, and that was going really well. And so that was bringing in a lot of artists, like musicians.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And and he can tell you how he came up with like the idea for the garden itself. But I just know, like, I feel like open mic at Art Garden really like was a big part of how this has grown to be what it is.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. So how did it go from, because it sounds like the idea started brewing, you know, with the Art Garden, and then
I always thought about like maybe doing house shows or something like that, but we never really, like, the yard was big and it was a great space to run around, but there was, and where the stage is now, there was like a 75-foot tall oak tree. So that was, you know, I was like, I think we could do something cool with this yard, and maybe that was like a thought in the back of my mind, but it was just more really for space and for her to, like, like you said, she's a very good gardener and you know, florist, everything, so she's got to have some space I mean, she grows vegetables and everything like that, so she wanted space and sun.
We needed sun.
Yeah, sun.
And this tree was taller than the house. We have a 3-story house. This tree was taller than the house.
We could give you a clip of that.
You can find it on Instagram. We took a video of us cutting the tree down. But this is one day Tanner's like, hey, I was thinking about cutting that tree in the yard down, and I'm thinking, oh, awesome, because like the sun for the yard. But then he's like, we get to cut it down, and then next thing I know, he's like, actually, we're gonna cut down the 3 trees. Like,
we need to get to this. How do you tackle cutting down a cell
It
rope?
took about 2 months, I don't know, ish, to get that tree down.
We cut the big limbs down first, and we got up as high as we could with his big, like, huge ass ladder, and we're just cutting, and we're like almost unsafely.
Well, y'all survived that.
Yeah. So we survived the tree cutting down.
And that's where the stage is now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, where the fire pit in front of the stage is, that's where the tree was, because that's the root. We're still trying to burn out the stump.
Clear.
Because we also haven't paid for a stump removal.
Yeah. We don't like.
We got diesel and.
We're really. I mean, it's a DIY venue for a reason. We tried to do it all ourselves. But yeah, I mean, just we cut down the tree, and then it's like, well, we got all this space and blah blah blah, and it just, I was like, let's have a concert in the backyard. I think we talked about it like the beginning of September, and we built the stage and had a concert within like 2 weeks. We had our first one in September, and we've been doing it every second Friday since. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of people had the same experience that he did. Like when jobs came back or places started opening up, opportunities didn't necessarily start coming. Not for newer people.
Was still weary about going back out, and also
we'd
all gotten lazy being out on the couch. Like some people wanted to get out, and some of us had kind of like, okay, I like being at home some.
But a lot of people got into music during the pandemic as well.
Sure.
So they're looking for an opportunity at being their first time, and that's something that we definitely like are excited to give the opportunity for people for. Like one of the things that's important to us is that anybody who wants like a chance, like we want to hear you and want to support you, and we want to give you a stage to sing on, show us your talents.
And I think that, not just the house shows, because the house shows can only book so many people because we do it once a month, but we've been very thankful for the Art Garden and the other open mic opportunities we've gotten to, because that's really the open mic, something where, hey, and especially it almost helps us out when we're booking someone, because I mean, if you know anything about booking anything musically, it's like, okay, we want this, and we want these. You just send all your professional mastered recordings here, and we'll listen to them. It's like I get that why people want that, and bigger venues want that. But there's also a lot of great talent, especially newer talent out in Kansas City that doesn't have the money or time or know-how to provide that. They're like, I've got a video on my phone, and they're like, I'm not listening to that. Right. And well, we'll listen to that, and if it's good, we'll tell you to come to an open mic or play in our backyard. So it's like, I think there's definitely a a cool opportunity that we've been able to provide a lot of musicians, which has been fun. Yeah.
And you say that you also mentioned that you help artists develop their ideas by providing a space for them to workshop things. Like, so they have to send you the material beforehand in order for you to see, hey, is this what we, and then you just to see, I guess, what they have going, and then
also,
invite them to play.
All of our concerts at the house have themes because I love themes.
okay.
And so we want to make sure also that they fit the theme of that month's concert, because like 1 month we're going to have like it's show me, because we're in Missouri, show me your rhythms and rides. So it's going to be we're gonna get a bunch of motorcycles in the backyard, because I also have a Harley myself. I want to like show off. It's really nice.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a bunch of rock bands. So like a rock show with
Yeah.
bands, but we're gonna have one that's a summer party. I'm gonna get a bunch of pools in the backyard. Everyone's gonna come in their swimsuits. It'll be a blast. And like in the past, in the winter months when we had it inside, we had like a poetry night and an acoustic setting. Valentine's Day, we had like all love songs, and we had a private thing where they got to have like dinner and a show, and dinner was provided by a chef that's a friend of ours. So everything has a theme, but that's why we want to also hear you, because we want to know where you would fit, where you would be
Right,
good
where you
for.
would fit. Okay.
And I guess another just quick point to that is, the cool thing is, like, we don't have to actually, like, if you don't have anything, if you don't have a video, because some people say, like, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. And I mean, rather than just saying, hey, well, you're going to have to provide me something, I can just say, okay, you can show up Sunday from 11 to 4, or you can show up at the Combine from 6 to 9 on Tuesday. So there's 6 hours out of the week they have. If they don't have anything, I mean, we're going to be there. And if we hear them and they're good, I mean, you hear them live is better than anything they can provide. So
Exactly.
And we try hard to like record our open mics and post that, so that maybe that might be what
That might be their material.
is and also if you don't have something like and you're coming to tell us, we'll make sure and get it recorded for you if that's something you need, because we want to again support you, give you whatever opportunities that you have, because honestly, wouldn't it be super cool if like we help a band out and then they become like awesome and tour all over, and we'll be like, come back to the garden, like we know those guys. Like, we've had bands from out of state come through, like Pull String. That's a great band.
we've had
Really?
made a very good connection with Pull String. They're very talented, but they're from Minneapolis, Minnesota. They've played twice at the house now, and can't wait to come back a third time. I'm like,
They
hey
have
man,
a huge indie scene.
Yeah.
in Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, the indie scene there is ridiculous. So how important is it to your mission, or how you're wanting to run the garden, to be inclusive and diverse in the artists that you invite to the show? To do the show.
I mean, it's
Literally all are welcome.
it's all. I mean, it's
We're trying to
necessary.
diversify it up as much as possible, because we want to give literally everyone an opportunity, and that means from all realms. We have rappers, we've had country, folk. I mean, it's just a mix, and all we're looking at is musicians, and so everything else, your skin tone, your gender, sexual preference, all that stuff, that's not even a factor in any way. It's all just about like, do you sing or play an instrument? Like,
Right.
you want to perform?
Like different kinds of artists, and like it's like not just
It is anything. I mean, we
Yeah.
have had literally across the board various types, and sometimes in one night. I mean, we have a guy that comes and plays an electric steel drum.
He was our
Like, we
last
have
concert,
a range. It's crazy.
Yeah, but so from that to hip hop to heavier rock, try to include a little bit of it all, and it's nice that it's our space, so we can kind of do a little bit of what we want, mindful of the neighbors and everything. Of course, but honestly, we've got pretty much nothing but rave reviews from all our neighbors.
Nice.
We probably would have been 2 minutes earlier if we didn't have one of our neighbors stop us to tell us how much she enjoyed the last one. So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's we have a pretty good group of people that support us, musicians, the community, and it's nice to like some of those musicians. I guess after. If you play at the house, if we book you, we put you in a chat, and it's called the Garden Family. And you don't have to stay in there, but you can. It's a nice big group chat on Instagram. And like the other day on Thursday, we wanted to jam at the house, and she made lasagna, and we texted the chat, and we're like, hey, if anyone wants to come over for lasagna, that's you're welcome, and come and hang out and play music. And we probably had 10 or 12 people there, and that's open to everyone, anyone that's booked.
Well, you mentioned community.
Yeah.
And I imagine with the type of business that you have running the venue, you got to have strong ties with community and with other businesses. So tell me a little bit about how you've been able to do that with other businesses and with the community, linking together with the artist community. Like how integral has that been to the success of the garden and being able to continually stay booked and blessed, because that's what y'all are doing.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, we have a good problem right now, which is we can't book all the people we want to book. I mean, we're getting there with some of the new kind of partnerships and things we schedule with Art Garden, for example. Now, whereas last year it was just an open mic, now we're going to book a band every week from 12 to 1 on Sunday. And then we'll have the open mic from 1 to 4. So that's, however many Sundays are now till October, that's another chance for us to get, one band out there or performer or whatever we want to do for an hour out there. And that's, part of the community with all the artists there and everyone. And there's been, I mean, even today, the band that came, they stuck around, they saw art and got to meet people and, they said they ran into someone they hadn't seen since high school, and like stuff like that I think is so cool. And then to do that kind of stuff with Art Garden and then go to a business for open mic, like we partner with the Combine currently, and it's a whole nother different, atmosphere, crowd, demographic most of the time. It's a whole nother different feel than Art Garden. And I think, certain musicians, for whether different style, they prefer what the theme in the area of Tuesday to Sunday. So it's nice to have those two kind of different opportunities. And that's us partnering with two different businesses who, are local to KC and are trying to do their thing. So it's nice to be able to partner with them. And without them, we wouldn't have those open mic opportunities. We would only have the stuff at the house. And like I said, a cool thing is we don't always have to hear everyone. We can just tell them to come to the open mic, and without that, we wouldn't have, that opportunity to do that.
But also we also have City Market Fresh Fridays. We're going to be doing music there the first Friday of every month while it's nice out, and that's something that came about because last summer our garden was at City Market, and so we got to partner with City Market, and Sue, who runs that, she's become a good friend with. I definitely feel like with their attitude and just being good people and trying to give people good opportunities, we're just making a lot of great connections, and the universe is just sending people our way, and things are happening, and it's just awesome. Like, I'm just constantly amazed at it just, like, when you're doing the right thing, it just, when things click, it feels good, and that's what this all feels like.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, just to get back to the community thing, like it started because, I mean, we could take it back as far as my ex-girlfriend giving Ciemantha a loaf of bread, but like, I just think, like, but seriously, I think it started at, someone gave her an opportunity somewhere along the line to be a part of Art Garden. And then she returned that favor by, talking to me and giving one of her friends an opportunity. And I think just kind of, just those back and forth and things like that, even today, Sunday, the band we had at Art Garden, I mean, we just, not to talk badly on Art Garden, but we just got done with the scheduling, so we had to find a band quick today. And we would have never been able to find a band, in the time we had if it wasn't for all the connections and all the stuff we already did. Yeah, and it was.
He just posted in that group.
I posted in that group, and we had a band in 10 minutes. And it's like, when you're in a pinch and plans change, and we had a band right like that, and they're, as soon as they were done playing, Bethany, who runs Art Gardens, up talking to them, would love to have them back, loved how they sounded, and
thanks for doing it last night.
And it's just, Bethany and the people from Art Garden come to the backyard shows, and that band was at them show, and it's just everything can be connected and people can help people out.
But I love when they leave and we hear like, this is a whole vibe. Like, we love what you're doing here.
Right.
And this is like the best house show we've ever played. And I'm like, thank goodness, because that's a lot of work. So I'm like, it's worth it. Like, it's worth it to hear you say that this is right, because that's what we're going for and that's what we want. And it's good to know, like, we're doing what we're supposed to.
Yeah, it's just a connection of all the things, especially of the things that you guys offer to the partnership itself. Your business acumen and your creativity. We both have a lot of creativity, and your ability to connect with other artists.
Yeah, I think that's maybe a unique thing to it. I mean, Art Garden again is kind of unique in itself because it's kind of that music and other mediums of art blending together. So her network and my network are all artists, all creative people, but from two different spaces. But art can appreciate art very well, I think so. So
and
I
they're all
think
very supportive.
That's been something cool we've had that's been different artists, music, painting, whatever, they all have appreciated each other, and which has been really cool.
Because Art Garden, that's like a family, definitely. And like even last summer, around the time we were going to start this, we had just a big party for everyone at Art Garden to come to the house and hang out, and that was like a whole vibe too. And everyone just kind of knows reunion. Like it's our house, and it's always, I'm probably going to be cooking something, and everyone's welcome and everyone feels at home. And we, like at Thanksgiving, we made sure and let people know, if you don't have a place to come over and eat with us. So it's not just music, but how can we just help you grow as a person and even just grow up? Because some of them are just kids, and this is like a big step in their world, and maybe this is how they decide, if I really do like music, I really do want to get into this.
Have either of you thought about what success looks like for the garden as a business, as a venue, as a mission, and like where you want to be within 5 years?
I mean, I wouldn't say like that we're not. I mean, what we've done so far is, I would say, has been pretty successful, which has been cool. 5 years is way too far to think about. I mean, my thought process.
Your artist brain kicks in.
My thought process was like, there's a tree here. There's not a tree anymore here. What if there was a stage here? And like, we just did it, and not like that's it. There was a lot. Believe me, there was a lot of work that went into it, but just the thought from it not happening to, oh, it's happening. Let's figure out how we can do it. And I think I don't know, the mission, vision would be to just continue finding ways to help artists and stuff like that. I think the house show thing, as long as the community and everyone around us remains cool with it, it'll be something we can always do just once a month and have a good time with it. But I think growing or the other areas, or having new avenues of things, like I just said, we just started having talks with the AI Hub about things we could do together, because they kind of handle the other process of kind of getting to the stage and all that. So I mean, it seemed like, fingers crossed, there might be some cool things there we can do, and maybe that'll open up another opportunity. But I think
maybe long term, like finding a space that's not the house.
Finding our own space to be able to do stuff would be done.
So I feel like it's a good balance of one time a month, because honestly, it's cool because you get to look forward to it, but it's not too often.
Right.
And so, we're intentional picking the second Friday, because first Fridays.
Yes.
Third Friday is actually a thing, I think it's in KCK.
They have third Fridays. They have our third Friday art walk in KCK.
Oh,
and so I was like, let's do second Fridays, because that way we don't have to compete with as much, and because I was thinking a lot of the people who will come are our art friends, and they're vending in those first Fridays and stuff.
That makes sense.
So like, if we want to have our friends be able to be here, we can't book it in the times where they're going to be out doing their thing, because we want to support that too. So it works out. And then honestly, like, I worked really, really hard on the social media in the beginning to get a good following, and I pushed it a lot on social media. So after the first concert, which was mostly we had a good turnout, but a lot of it was all of our art garden friends wanting to come out to our first show, which was cool. But after that, we did get a lot more people coming just because they saw it through social media, and a lot of people reaching out for the address. Like, you know that you're getting people that way when they're asking for the address, because our art garden friends know where we live.
Yeah. Now that you've mentioned that, so where can people find you guys on social media, get information about the different events at the Combine, when you're at Art Garden, and when the garden is having events?
The best place to reach us is on Instagram. If you follow, it's thegarden_KC_DIY. And, or if you just start typing the garden, you don't have to usually put the whole thing in. But that's our Instagram page, and that is where we like to have everyone communicate, because we both run the page and have access to it, and I like just one place. I don't want to have to do Facebook and all these things. We have those things, but we always want people to reach out through Instagram, because it's the best and easiest for us. But we also, from there, you can, on our Instagram, we have a link tree now.
Yeah, in our bio we have a link tree with
it kind of can connect
Facebook
you
and our
up.
schedule and all that stuff. An email, we have an email, we're official. I guess.
Yeah, we have an email
We have
now.
an email now.
Yeah, somebody said that we need an email for the older people who don't use social media, and so an email was born. Listen, we're trying to be as inclusive as we can.
Yeah.
If you need an email, we got you.
Though.
What?
You need to have an email for the older people.
That's what they told
That's
us.
Weird.
I know. Well, I know, because I honestly
Am
prefer
I
email.
old?
I know. Trust me, I know. I don't like hard. People are like, why don't you have Snapchat? And I'm like, no. If you need to talk to me, you have my number. You text me. I don't want to go track
many
down
things.
13 different
Visceral reaction.
chatting things to get to. No, just text me. In fact, call. I'm old enough. I enjoy a phone call. I know that people don't like phone calls.
We're the
Call
old.
me. Because honestly, the time it takes to text, I could have just told you. Anyway, that being said, the garden is Instagram is our big page, but also if you are interested in Art Garden KC, which is what we've also been talking about, that is its own, Art Garden KC is on Instagram, and they have their own website as well.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It was great to hear your stories and how you're building community and what you're doing for independent artists out there. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. This is really great. I'm so proud of you. I've known you for a long time. I didn't know that this is what you're doing now, and so I'm like, girl, get it.
So that's all for today, and I'd like to thank Tanner and Ciemantha for joining me today in the garden. And if you like what you've seen today, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Their link tree and the links that they described will be down in the description box below. And as you know, every other Friday, you'll be able to see new episodes of Getting Close Up. And next Friday, make sure you tune into GCU Reviews, where we'll give you the tea on what's hot and what's not. I'm so glad that you joined us today. I thank you all, most of all, for watching. And I'll see you again soon for another Close Up. I'll be checking for you.